Welcome back to the Clay Kane Show on Sirius XM Urban View, Channel 126, where talk empowers and becomes action. All right, I'm looking forward to our next guest. You may have seen him on X Factor, and he is an actor, performer, and narrator of the famous children's book, The Little Prince. It's going to be released this December, just in time for the holidays. I know we talk about the importance of our kids having books and things that they can relate to from people that are coming from us and our experience. So let's bring him on. Anton Stephans, what's up, sir?
Hello there. How are you? Thank you so much for having me here.
Tell us about the children's book, The Little Prince, for folks who don't know about it, and why it's important to you being a narrator of this book.
You know what? I was so delighted last year when I was asked if I'd like to narrate the book by Fitzrovia Post in England, in London, who they're very famous people here. And when I was asked to do it, I was like, oh my God, I love this book. It's about a pilot who crashes his plane into the Sahara Desert, and he suddenly meets this mystical young boy who teaches him a lot about life and about love and about the importance of relationship and all kinds of people that you would meet in your life. And it's a great book. I was given it years and years and years ago by a good friend. Don't you call them a friend? A romantic entanglement.
Entanglement.
Didn't last very long. I try to find out the cool, nice way of saying it. But you know
Entanglement is good. That's very Jada Pinkett Smith, so that's good.
Yeah, I got untangled from it pretty quickly. But the nicest thing that came out of that time was that they gave me the book, and that was in the 80s. They gave me the book, and I keep it like a Bible, and I've kept it like a Bible and carried it with me throughout my life. I put it in my suitcase often. So it was crazy when I was asked to do it. And it's a French classic. And for them to ask someone, number one, I'm British, and number two, I'm Black.
Right.
And,
right.
and for them to ask a Black British guy to do it, I was like, okay, this is great. This is awesome. And the flavor that I can bring, and I believe that we carry within us. I was talking to a friend about this recently, that within our blood, we carry a rhythm and an essence of our ancestors. And so when I'm bringing and reading this story, I'm bringing all of them with me too in these characters. So I really enjoyed doing it. Yeah.
That's amazing. The Little Prince. It was written in the 1940s. And
Right.
you're in an interesting time in your life, and this gig comes around at an interesting time in your life because you were also fighting cancer. So
That's
so
right.
tell us about this journey that you're on right now, and
Well,
how. Go ahead.
Well, it's crazy, I was in the middle of recording an album. It took me a little while to get out of my, talk about romantic entanglements. It
Yes.
took me a while to get out of my contract with the X Factor. And when I
Yes.
did, I wanted to record things that were close to my heart. And I was in the middle of recording an album, and I started to feel unwell. I'd been 11 years in remission.
Mm.
And I started to feel unwell, and I went to see the doctor, and they told me that I have tumors on my pituitary gland,
Mm.
and which is in the center of your brain,
Mm.
and on my adrenal glands. And it has been really, really difficult time. I had an operation 7 weeks ago where they go up through. It's amazing what they can do. They go up through the nose and behind the eye, and they go into the center of the brain. And last week, I got some great news that there are no cancer cells in my brain anymore.
Wow.
So we
Good for
just
you.
had, oh my God, it was like amazing, because my body has changed so much because of the treatment,
Yeah.
and my mobility had changed, and so it was difficult to come from being a really active person to then being someone that needed help. And I'm here in the countryside with my family,
Mm.
and it's really been nice to reconnect properly with them, and to and to convalesce from the major surgery. To be here now. So I got another round of chemo in September, late September. But I'm really positive and I'm excited about the future. This book came at the most extraordinary time. I'm linking it up with a charity here that I'm really close to, and we're in talks so that I share the proceeds with people who are suffering too, so that it's not just about me, but that it's about giving. And I've learned that the more you give away, the more that you receive. And so, and also that's what it teaches you. This book is beautiful. One of the quotes in the book is, what is essential is invisible to the eye. And so there's lots of these quotes in the book, which are great. So I can't wait to share it with everyone.
And I mean, you've also had a really incredible career. You've had a really incredible career.
Grateful for that.
Yes, exactly. You've been on stages, the West End, on Broadway. But there's one name I saw, and I've never met anybody who has even worked with this person. But you worked with Tina Turner.
Yes, bless her heart.
So you got to tell me, how did you work with Tina Turner, and what was Miss Anna Mae Bullock like?
Oh my Lord! Okay, so let me give you because this is amazing. This whole thing was amazing. I was working in. I was in college. It was 1993, I think, and I was just left college for the summer, and I was working in a studio in Eastbourne, which is also in Sussex. It was the Christian Communications place. And do you remember when we had tapes? Does anybody remember when there were tape cassettes?
Of course, yeah, absolutely. I had tons of them.
I was the person in the room folding the bits of paper that went into the plastic tape and then put the tape in and then boxed them up. That was what I did to get some money. I needed some money, but I would sing while I was doing it, and I had the Walkman on. And it was a very small place, and I'd sing, and I got a big voice. And then somebody knocked at the door and said, "Hey, what are you doing? You're singing too loud." But come downstairs and come and sing on my album. And that was Cliff Richard. And then he introduced me to Tina Turner. And I spent an evening singing underneath a table with
Wow.
And we were having a wonderful time. And then I got asked to do the Golden Eye tour, which I was really grateful to do. So my life changed incredibly. I went from being a small country boy to traveling the world. And it was an extraordinary time. I loved it. She is amazing human being. And I'm very, very grateful for all the things that I learnt.
So I heard her rehearsals and her work ethic is really insane and just almost godlike. Were you able to see that on the Golden Eye tour as far as her work ethic and her rehearsals?
You better not be late. You notice I have a thing where I'm actually always early because I got drilled that I watched somebody get fired once.
Wow.
Somebody very close get fired because they were 5 minutes late and they weren't ready.
I know that's right.
When you got bills,
yes,
you better not be late. There's that, and to know your stuff, to know you could be singing something, and this person is incredible. She knows exactly. She'll be on stage. She used to come out on an eye. There's this eye used to open out, and there'll be 50,000 people. All screaming and loving it, but she could hear everything you sung. So if you sang something that was not right, you'll be spoken to about it, and you better not get that wrong the next time.
Wow.
So I learned my craft. And I'm very, very grateful to that time in my life. Yeah.
See, that's old school. That's the Chitlin Circuit days, because Ray Charles was like that too. James Brown was like that as well.
That's right.
that's you could hear, back on the Chitlin circuit, they weren't in a big stadium. They were in a beat up room, a beat up club, no big sound system, belting it out. So that's that old school that that you don't really get anymore.
You better not mess it up. And you drilled over. Let's do it over again. Over. And I love that. I love being pushed. I loved, and it helped me in everything else that I've done in my life since. I never, you weren't allowed to be ill. If you were ill, then, you better not get sick. You look after yourself. You go to bed. You get some water and you sleep. There are lots of things that I learned that have helped me along the way. So I'm very, very grateful for that time.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm sick and I'm like, I've only missed this show one time in 3 years. But when I'm sick, I think Tina Turner got on stage and sang with a broken nose. I am going to get on this microphone and get on Sirius XM no matter how I feel.
You better work.
Exactly.
You better work. And because, I always think that there is somebody out there, all the people out there, they've not just bought that ticket. Sometimes lots of people have booked dinners and they've booked hotels and they're making a whole thing of it. And that's a big chunk of your money. That's a big chunk of your time. And it's only right for me to honor that and honor that sacrifice that you're making to come and see me or come and see anything that I'm doing, for me to be there, for me to be well, and for me to do the very, very best I can. I learned how to pray a lot there too, which I'm really grateful to. You learn how to pray a lot and center yourself. Even before doing the interviews, this is an interview. I've not done any interviews. This is the first one I've done. So even then, I was praying about, I want God to be in it. I want the Spirit of God to be in it, and a part of it. So yeah.
And lastly, you were on the X Factor in 2015. What are your memories of the X Factor?
Oh my
X Factor
God!
UK.
What on earth was I doing?
You were singing your ass off, though. You were singing. I saw the clips. You were singing.
Bless them. It's an extraordinary monster to be involved in, and they say things like, "You've chosen this song." I said, "I didn't choose it. Do you think I would choose this song?" I chose the first 3 songs that got me to live shows.
Wow.
I chose those songs because those songs came from my heart, and they're probably the best performances that I had on it. But I wouldn't have chosen any of those other songs. I mean, God bless him. I said to Simon, God bless you, but this vehicle is really more about you than it is about anybody else.
Wow.
But I'm grateful for it. I've had so much love from around the world. It's a juggernaut of a show, and there are people from Mongolia, as far as Mongolia, people were messaging me and saying how much they were connected, certainly with the song I Am Changing, which I sang first.
Yes, from Dreamgirls, Jennifer Holiday from Dreamgirls.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, people really connected with that. Certainly, and a lot of LGBTQ people of color too connected with that. And so I was able to really reach out and embrace all communities. And that was
Let me ask you this, Anton, though, because I don't know how it is in the UK, but over here, all of those shows, the X Factor, The Voice, the America's Got Talent, no stars come from those shows anymore. There's no Fantasias from those shows. There's no Kelly Clarksons. There's nobody having a hit record from those shows. Now, it might be different in the UK, but why do you think that is, that now these talent shows, they're not really and there's some phenomenal singing folk, but we're not seeing folks coming out with a music career? Well, why do you think that is?
I think it's because we've all got wise to how it works. It's a multi-million-pound industry, and it probably, in my view, it has very little to do about music and an awful lot to do about the people who are judging and what the things that they have going on to sell. So it's moved from a sense of let's find the next big talent to look at all the other things that this judge has got to sell. And it's been about that really. And that's really sad. I think it's sadly very little to do with finding new talent. And I'm grateful that if I hadn't had a career before it, my God, I mean, for me, it was really helpful. And it was great, but I really felt sorry for people who didn't have a following even before that and didn't have any grounding or understanding of the industry beforehand. I felt incredibly sorry because people felt a little bit chewed up, chewed up and spat out. You've made some entertainment for a Saturday night, now goodbye. And that must be really, really painful. And for me, it was painful for a while because I thought, a lot of my contemporaries were like, Anton, what are you doing? What are you doing on that TV show? And I was saying, look, I got bills. I'm always one for finding something to do. I grew up that way, with the family. If you're never allowed to be bored. If you were bored, then pick up a broom or pick up a book or do something. You always told to do something. So, yeah.
No, it's interesting you say that, Anton, because there was a young woman, beautiful, beautiful girl. I interviewed her, and her name was Simone Battle. She was on XFactor over here in the in the States. And she kind of said what you said. She was on Simon Cowell's team, and he was giving her songs that she didn't want. I don't know if it was because being disappointed over the industry. I don't know. I don't know at all. But Simone Battle would later commit suicide. It was really just a sad, sad story. And I don't know if it was the industry that drove her to that, if she had other underlying factors, but it's that she was a young girl, beautiful, beautiful black girl. And you're
beautiful
just thinking,
beautiful, incredible talent. I'm actually looking at her right now on my iPad, and, she's a beautiful young girl. And if I'm really honest, and Simon's my friend, so I will be honest. I'm not sure whether he understands black folk, although he's got an awful lot of black friends. He's got an awful lot, but I'm not sure whether he truly understands how we are, how we express ourselves, and that where that music comes from, and so. A lot of it for me felt very shallow and felt like there was no substance there. So I felt I can understand how somebody could walk away from that feeling broken if you don't have, thank God I have family and friends, and you get and everyone around me to hold me up when I couldn't hold myself up, and you get a lot of people's opinions suddenly,
Yeah. Rest in power to
about what you did, or what you didn't do.
Yeah, rest in power to Simone Battle. She died in 2014 at the age of 25, and her death was ruled a suicide. Well, listen, on that note, let's just change things up a bit. I want to right, but just it's important to talk about these things in the in the industry. But I want everybody to support your book. Once again, you're narrating the book, The Little Prince. It was written back in the 1940s. It's a famous children's book, and you're narrating it. It comes out in December. Anton Stephans, thank you so much for coming on the Clay Kane Show.
How can folks
follow you and support you?
People can reach out to me on Twitter. I'm coming back. I've had a little bit of a hiatus from Facebook and Instagram, but I shall be going back to it very, very soon. But I've kept my my Twitter going, and so they can reach out to me there. And there'll be lots of announcements as it's coming up. There'll be lots of announcements in press and on social media about what we're doing. And I will hopefully be releasing a track in the new year too. So God willing.